Hello everyone. Happy day after. Hopefully you all can hear me. Happy day after 4th of July. I hope you all enjoyed the break. I sure did. I had to relax this weekend, doing some healing myself. But today I wanted to talk to you all about alignment. So I did a poll. I didn't go live last week. Um, I I did some reruns for you all last week, but this week I wanted to adhere to the poll that I put out 2 weeks ago, and I wanted to talk to you all about alignment. And so, if you have been hanging out in my Facebook group, Cannabis Nursing Solutions Facebook group, you might have seen some posts that said I can help you achieve alignment, and that's what I do. I do alignment coaching, and so, but what does that really actually mean? And then what are the steps to achieving said alignment? And you can do it on your own. I don't care if you take my steps and you accomplish that for yourself. But alignment, I just looked up the general like Googleable definition of what alignment is. And it said it's an arrangement of action in a specific direction. And so, one of the things, it's taken me a while to realize like what type of coaching I actually offer. And, I went into like business coach, I went into like spiritual coach, all these things. I have like a wide range of expertise. My niche is cannabis medicine. Cannabis is medicine. Go back to some of the videos where I talk about that. But for me, I've realized is that I create direction for a lot of people. And I do this with my clients. I do this within the Highline tribe all the time. And so being able to have direction, being able to have clarity, you will like we take so much for granted when it comes to having clarity and direction. It's bananas. And when you have that clarity, when you have that direction, you remove some of the lessons that need to be learned, if you all know what I mean. How like you have this big idea and you're like, I don't know what to do, and then you start trying all these different type of things, and none of it leads to where you're actually trying to go because you didn't know what you actually needed. And in a lot of cases you get taken advantage of because of that fact. Yeah, that's what I help you to avoid. And I do that one intuitively, leveraging my own divine gifts. I do that with my understanding of the cannabis industry and just holistic medicine altogether. And then I also, obviously have experience in project management, professional development, and then I've been doing this with the tribe for a long time. And so, how do I help people achieve alignment? You might ask, right? And I do that by, really creating perspective outside of yourself. That's one way. But some of the things that we do, some of the steps that we take, are first, what is what do you want? Do you know how many people don't actually know what they want? And they say they want things that other people have pre programmed into them. And a lot of times when I meet people at this phase, what that looks like is I know there's something more for me out here. I know that I have all of this experience behind me. And I feel like because I've invested all this time and money into these experiences, like let's say you're a nurse, and now I have to continue leveraging that in order to, like, because that's all I got behind me. That's all I know. Right. And so, but you also know that there's more. You also know that there are more options. And so, again, it looks like in this space, I'm interested in holistic options. I know that healthcare hasn't served me for XYZ reasons. And I know that there are steps to take, but I don't know what I actually want. And your wants list, the thing that you want, the goal that you have, the mission that you have, usually is derived from some sort of like purposeful place, intuitively, like internally, where maybe a lot of people don't understand it. And so you shy away from it. And so, what we do in the first phases, when I first meet a lot of people, is help people discover what they actually want. So that way we can find direction. And we do not consider societal expectations either. We don't sit there and we're like, well, what does your mom and what does your dad think about what you want to do? Right? Because those are the reasons why we don't achieve things we want to do, because those people just don't understand what you want to do. And so having a safe place to even explore some of this has been extremely therapeutic for a lot of people in those first times that we work with each other. And then the next step is to identify the stigma that you have with yourself in order for you that keeps you at odds with yourself. I'm going to pause because there are a lot of people that I've met that are literally in battle with themselves. So the first step is to say, I want something that's outside of what everybody else expects of me. And so we can talk about the stigma that everybody has externally towards you. But you also hold on to your own stigma against yourself. I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be the best mom. I'm supposed to be the best nurse. I'm supposed to be whatever it is you think you're supposed to be, the richest, right? I'm supposed to travel. Whatever it is that you think you're supposed to be is the thing that keeps you from taking any type of action. And so we need to uncover that stigma. Do you got stigma against yourself? The next step is uncovering your core values. Core values work, it has been very transformational in my life as well as other people's life. It also helps you identify your own value, your own intrinsic value, in order to define how you can also serve your clients. Step 4 is around developing action steps. This is another area where fear gets in the way. This is another area where blocks get in the way. If you know what you want, you have to take action. We see all the memes all the time. It's everywhere. What action do you take? And so my background is actually in project management as well. And so we can develop, you and I, um, your action steps, your milestones, right? The things that you can do today, tomorrow, next week, next month, and then into next year. And so having those in place and being flexible with them, obviously, but having those in place can make a huge difference in whether or not you are accountable to yourself. Pause again. Accountable to yourself, not to me, right? Accountable to you achieving what you need to achieve, right? So being clear and delineating what that is and what your definition of success is will help you to achieve the thing that you actually want, that's outside of societal norms and outside of the things that you have already stigmatized yourself against. And then the next step is evaluating your progress. So I mentioned flexibility, that's key, because you're not always going to know what you need to do. Or I'm sorry, because you might know what you think you need to do, but sometimes what you think you need to do is not what you need to do. So for a lot of the people, the nurses, the healers that I work with within the tribe, a lot of us are so passionate about the thing that we do, the way that we serve, the way that we help, that we don't sometimes take into consideration the person who's receiving said service or product. And so for that reason, we have to lay against our passion, against our ideal client, and we need to evaluate. We need to survey, right? And then in that evaluation process, you start to redefine your action steps and get more clear about what steps you can take, and you start to find patterns in it. And so that's another thing that I do with my clients when I'm dealing with them, is to help them identify the patterns and the trends and the behaviors and the actions that they are doing in their personal life and in their professional life. And so essentially, those are the 6 steps in being able to achieve alignment. Can you do that on your own? Absolutely. I definitely suggest, because I've done that for myself. But I'll say this as a caveat: having a safe space Having a trusted resource is key in order to provide expanded awareness about, things that you may have blind spots in. And so just to talk a little bit about blind spots, we all have them. I think everybody who is watching, participating, and engaging with me, I think that you are amazing, right? I don't know how often you get to hear that, but you are amazing. But the issue is not necessarily how amazing you are, because we know that you are. But the issue becomes, I don't see the things that are keeping me stuck in my blind areas, and that is the reason why I'm keeping myself from taking the big action steps or taking that leap of faith. Taking that leap of faith is one of the scariest things that you could do. And what your leap of faith looks like is very different. So for me, it showed up when I decided to quit my hospital job back in 2021. That leap of faith was contingent on my success, right? But it was also based on the experiences that I didn't want to repeat. And so for me, I had to take that action step. It was nothing other outside of being able to take that action step. And so when you have things that stop you from taking that big leap of faith, it stops you from achieving the thing that you actually want. And going back to the point about what do you want, you know, I am so surprised at how often people will come to me and they say they want one thing, but as we explore what that one thing is, we start to uncover. It's almost like we're sifting through the a coal mine, and we're polishing off, yeah, the diamond at the in the coal mine, and we're finding that shiny object that is like lying dormant inside. And so for many of us, because of the way society has been defined and the way that or define life for us, we just cover it up. We put all this dust on it, and we hide the things that we want to do, the desires, the thing that makes us that creates spark in our life. And so for those of us who are especially for those of us who are nurses, who identify as healers, the way the healthcare care system has been designed, it's been designed for us not necessarily to operate in our intuitive gifts, or to operate in a way that gives us joy or gives us pleasure, or all those things. And so having somebody to help you polish off that rock without fear is what I'm here to do, is what I'm here to do, to help you to be able to do the things that you're trying to create, or create the things that you're trying to create, whether it's a business, whether it's going through a big transition. A lot of people that I work with are going through huge transitions in their lives, whether it shows up in divorce, whether it shows up in sending their children off to college, whether it shows up in I want to quit my job and transition beyond the bedside to becoming, having a small independent business, whether it's becoming an author, whether it's becoming, being okay with just cannabis medicine as a whole, right? Being able to navigate some of these things without fear, with that comfort, with that pillow, in order for you to know that you are, you're doing your thing, and you don't have to do it by yourself. And so, that's part of the reason why we created the High Align Tribe, so that way you can have a source of community of people who are going through very similar experiences. But beyond that, really just providing that direction, so that way you can get to that end goal. I know a lot of us healers, we need healing. We don't get enough of that. There's not enough people out here who are willing to comfort us, to provide the compassion for us, to give us the hug and the safe space that we need when we're not necessarily in an optimal place. You're not, like, because that's the role that you play. That's what you do. The expectation is that you show up for other people. And when you're unable to do that for yourself, then it becomes a question over, well, how valuable were you in the first place? Right. And for a lot of reasons, that fact alone, like outside of all the steps that I walked through, I could walk you through all those steps. But if anything is taken away from this conversation, is that, again, you're amazing. But if you are a healer and that's your role and responsibility, you need to know that what you offer is valuable. Even though people may tend to take advantage of it because it is an intangible gift. Like, it's not like you're selling purses, right? Like, you're not handing out purses and sis get to walk away with your bag and you get some money for it. No, what this is that you offer needs to be cultivated. It needs to be empowered. It needs to be nurtured. And so, in order for you to shine the way that you are intended to shine, I always recommend finding that person or that group or that community to help support that. And so, for me, I know that's the role that I play within my community, within my family. I operate as the healer, the person that people go to for advice. And, whenever I don't show up in a way that's optimal, or if I don't have capacity, then there's some sort of friction that's created because I'm not operating in this, in this space that I do naturally. And so, I don't feel like you should have to go through it alone, which is why I created the thing that I created, and that's why I'm so passionate about the work that I do. And so, last point before I go, what does this have to do with cannabis? Right? It's like, you got cannabis nursing solutions and you talking about achieving alignment, and you got all these posts in here about spirituality and all this, right? It has everything to do with alignment and spirituality. So, cannabis, we talked about it being medicine. There are videos that talk about that. But when we talk about cannabis, we talk about the endocannabinoid system. And what's the sole purpose of the endocannabinoid system? Is achieving homeostasis, which is essentially the equivalent to wellness. And that is a spectrum, is not a destination, right? Finding balance is in your body, in your physical body, is a process. But what we fail to acknowledge is the mental clarity that needs to occur, the emotional clarity that needs to occur, and the spiritual clarity in the way that we operate. And while I can, yes, help you, support you in business development purposes, my approach is always through the lens of wellness. And my approach is always in finding balance within the human that's trying to develop said business. And so, this is what I do. And it's hard to define in one sentence. And what we have boiled it down to is alignment. And this is what we're here doing. And so, through the high aligned tribe, that's why we are called that. And through alignment coaching, my duty and my responsibility has become to help you with being able to get to the next phase of your life through your transition and your difficult time, and not have to do it alone, and not have to make the big mistakes that I've had to go through myself. And so, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I really appreciate it. It is a very highly energetic time for me. Um, as far as, like, we just had that super moon come through, but just everything else emotionally, astrologically, all those things are playing a part in how I'm operating these days. And so, I really appreciate you taking your time to spend time learning more about what I have to offer you. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And last thing I'm going to say is that I am just a nurse who went to a HBCU, who decided to take life into her own hands and do her own thing. I'm not perfect, y'all. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just here trying to do what I know is in my divine purpose. And so, that's what you get here today. So, enjoy the rest of your week. I know it feels like Monday all over again, but it's Wednesday, and you all enjoy your day. Talk to you soon.